They didn't save the day with this one.
Hello YouTube, this is D Gizzle, the Beatmaker. This is my first ever video, so thank you for clicking on the video. Please subscribe to the channel, I'd love to have you. A little bit about me. I'm a 16-year-old going into junior year this year. I play football. This year hopefully will be my first year on varsity because we are going through the pandemic right now. So sports are delayed and probably there's a good chance that we might not have sports. So the video that you have clicked on is going to be about what I use, things that I use, tips that I use to make good melodies. That's what this whole channel is going to be built around. This whole channel is going to be built around beat making, producing, sound making, sound engineering. So the things that I use to make better melodies, and I've been doing this since I was like 13. So by no means am I a pro at this. No means am I a god. I am not one of the higher ups in making beats, but I do have a understanding of how good melodies sound, what makes a good melody. So also, I do band in my high school. I've been doing band since 6th grade, so I have 5 years of band experience, so that kind of helps me too because I know scales, I know a little bit of music theory. So that brings me to my first tip for you guys to make a better melody is that if you can, join your band or join some musical class, some music theory class in your school, because that will help you understand how music is composed, how music is made, and it will help you learn scales so that you make sure that all your beats are in the same key. And by what I mean by that is, say I'm in the key of C, and so C starts here and ends up here. So all the notes in C are. Me personally, I always start out with a chord progression in my beats. So I'm just gonna use this simple chord, nothing special, just a regular chord, regular 3-note chord. Sounds like that. So this is what I mean by staying in key. We have a simple C chord in here. I'm not a music theorist by any means. I do band, but I do not know a whole bunch of music theory. So I know this is a chord in the key of C major, but that is all I can tell you. So I just have 3 chord notes of C. Sounds like this. And what I mean by staying in key is you want to stay within the notes of the chord. So if I bring up another FL keys, which is right here, when I go to make the melody, I want to stay within these notes. So I'm just going to do a regular rise and fall. And you can see with the ghost notes on that all of my notes land inside of my chord. So they will sound good. They'll sound good they will sound good when played. That is what staying in key means. That's the general idea of staying in key. So all of your musical instruments, if you had a guitar, if you had 808s, if you had a synth in here, you would have all of your notes lining up with the chords. That's why I do chords first, because it kind of puts it kind of lays the foreground for the whole entire beat, because your beat needs to stay in key. So let's see what it sounds like when some of your notes are out of key. So I'm going to move these 2 E's up to F, and you'll be able to hear that it does not sound as good as when they were in key. You can tell something was off. Now let's put it even further off key. Let's bring it up one more. So F sharp, and you can already tell this is not going to sound good. This is going to sound horrendous. Like I said, not a good sound. So that's what I mean when I say in key. Make sure all your instruments are in the same key. I cannot stress that enough, because I've heard beats, even from myself, that are not in key, and it sounds horrible. It sounds like a whole mess. Oh, that was tip number two. Tip number one was to join. My bad. Tip number one was to join some type of musical class in your school or something like that, some type of musical extracurricular. And number two was stay in key. Number three is, for me, I've been listening to music so much and I've done bands so much that I just start randomly whistling and humming melodies, humming beats. So if you are one of those people who like to plan ahead, or you are able to hum to yourself, or you find yourself humming a melody that you're like, hey, I can use that in a beat, I would highly encourage you to. I would highly encourage you to whistle, learn to whistle. And for me, I'm a very forgetful person. So if I hum a melody or I whistle a melody and I'm in the middle of chores or something and I know I'm going to forget it in the next hour whenever I can get back to FL Studios, I'll take out my phone. I'll take out either a video. I'll take a video with my camera down or something, or I'll use my voice recorder app to whistle and hum the melody into the recording so that I can have it for later and I can come back to FL Studios and try to recreate it. So that's tip number three, is learn to hum melodies, learn to whistle melodies, because it will help you think about your beat before you do it. Then you can just come into the studio and it's easy flow from there. Now, number four kind of ties in with number one because you'll get an earworm and you'll just start humming stuff. But number four is to make sure that you're listening to music. You can't make music if you don't know what it is. You can't make music without having a foundation of knowing what music is, what music sound like, what makes music sound good. And by that I also mean I also don't want you to take that as just listening to one type of music. You want to be a well-rounded producer, well-rounded beat maker. So I would tell you to listen to all genres of music. Everybody has a genre that they don't like. So like you might not like country, but I will tell you, listening to hip hop, listening to R&B, to rock, to country, all of that, when you listen to all that together, you can hear the different ways that music can come together and the different techniques and style that is used. So it's easier for you to come up with different melodies, incorporate different instruments so that you aren't making the same repetitive melodies over and over and over again. For example, for me, I just came back from a little break off of making beats like a week ago, and I took a break because I was just getting worn out. I was getting bored with it. It wasn't really that fun for me. I felt like it was just a constant, come in here, make a beat, export it, listen to it, be hyped for it for like 5 minutes, and then be done with it. I didn't like that. I wanted the flow in the studio time to be more organic. So I said I'm going to stop making beats, and I went like a month without making beats. I did listen to a whole bunch of music. There has not been a day in my entire life that I have not listened to music. And during the month that I didn't make a beat, I was listening to rock, to R&B, to hip hop. I was listening to it all. So I came back in the studio and I was able to make a banger. I won't say that it was completely because of the different music I was listening to. Partially because I just took a break. I was able to come back and be refreshed. Like I said, the music just kind of gives you different styles, different techniques for you to work on. So yeah, that is the video for this week. So to run back down through the list, tip number one, if you have the option to, join an extracurricular of that is music based that will help you learn music. Number two goes along with number one, which is staying in key with your melodies, like you can see on screen still now. Staying in key with all your melodies, all your instruments. Tip number three is to actively hum and whistle melodies. And if you catch yourself whistling a melody or humming a melody that you feel like you can use in a beat, pull out your phone or whatever thing you're going to use to record and get it recorded, and you come back into the studio and you can try to recreate it. Then number four is to listen to every single type of music. Expand your horizons so that you can be a more well-rounded producer, because it will only keep you in a box if you're only listening to hip-hop. There's more beats than just trap beats. That's why we have sampling and all that stuff and loops. That ends it for this week's video. I thank you again for clicking on this video. If you clicked on my first ever video, thank you, welcome. Feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment with any video idea or topics you would want me to go over. I hope this video was informational and helped you, and I'll see you guys later.